Welcome to Sheer Pod Attack, a Queen song by song podcast.
So welcome to the show. I'm Stephen Nicholson.
And I'm Paul Nicholson.
We're brothers from Edinburgh, Scotland, and our favourite band is Queen. Thanks for joining us as we take a break from critiquing a Queen song to critiquing a Queen album, the band's debut from 1973. And here to help us with that is our special guest, fellow podcaster friend and Queen fan, Marv Quibell from Pods Like Us podcast. Marv, how are you today?
I'm fine, and I'm glad to be talking Queen again with you guys.
Absolutely. Best band in the world. So the best discussions will be taking place about Queen today. So before we talk about the album, let's hear some facts about it.
Queen is the debut studio album by British rock band Queen. It was released on the 13th of July, your birthday, actually. 1973 by EMI Records in the UK and Elektra in the US. It reached 24 in the UK and 83 in the US and sold over 3 million copies, going gold in both countries.
It was bold, but it also went gold.
Going for gold. So there were 2 singles released from the album in the UK and the US, Keep Yourself Alive and Liar in the US. There were 10 songs on the original album with a duration of 39 minutes. There are 11 songs on the 2024 version, which is known as Queen 1, and it includes the track Mad the Swine. The album has a 3.35 rating out of 5 on rateyourmusic.com.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So what would we all rate this album out of 5? So we'll come to you first, Marv.
To me first. Okay. I would probably give this about a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a good debut album, personally. So, I mean, is that a good mark? Does it go along with your own thoughts, guys?
Well, I'd give it a 4. I think it's an excellent album. Not, a 5 out of 5, certainly a top tier Queen, but an excellent album. Or Paul?
I'm maybe with Marv on this, actually.
And so, Marv, what's your favourite and least favourite tracks from the album?
I had difficulty picking the favourite, but I ended up going with Keep Yourself Alive because I think it is pure Queen. It shows you straight away what Queen are. The guitar work on there, Freddie's vocals, the drums. There's some great bass work there from John Deacon. And it's a really well-written song and performed as well. And the production is not half bad on the original version as well, to be honest, compared to the rest of the album's production.
Yeah. And what about your least favourite?
Least favourite, possibly Jesus.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's lyrically, you knew that. Yeah, I think it's got it's sort of an idea there that could be built on a bit better, but it's just almost not complete as a song, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, I'm with you. That's my least favourite song on the album, and my favourite is Son and Daughter. You got to love that main riff on the song. Absolutely fantastic. And what about you, Paul?
Favourite? It's a tough one. Probably Keep Yourself Alive. Just because it's got all the Queen trademarks and just a great debut single and a great debut opening on the album. Least favourite would probably be Jesus as well. Having said that, I like the Dillian Lee demo. I think that's really good. Actually, it's quite heavy. It's more muddier. It's actually really like that version. But the album, like we were saying, the mix of the album, obviously it was done in downtime when it was in 73, 72. So for me, probably Jesus is but like you say, there's elements of that could be something good, but it just felt a bit kind of, I don't know if it was like trying to tie in with Jesus Christ Superstar and all that sort of stuff around that time. Maybe it doesn't really work.
Yeah. Okay. So Jesus is very definitely bottom of the pile from the 3 of us. Sorry, Lord, and all that. So Marv, Paul and I over the previous 11 weeks have given our thoughts on each of the songs on the album. So a couple of questions to throw to you then. So when did you first get into Queen? When did you become a fan? And also, what do you think of the band's debut?
My stepdad introduced me to Queen with a, shall we say, dodgy recording of the album that he got from Saudi Arabia when he worked there and brought it back. Because everything you buy in Saudi Arabia, dodgy music back in the 80s. So that would have been that would have been around the time of The Works. So The Works was probably my introduction to Queen. This album I first got on cassette in 1987. One of the first things I did when I left school was buy a load of cassettes to listen to when I got my first, wage or whatever after leaving school. And I think I bought 5 or 6 Queen albums on tape along with a lot of other stuff. So I liked the album back then. And I still do like the album. I don't think it's a bad album in anything. Like I said, I think it's a upward sort of, like I said, 3.5 out of 5, which would be 7 out of 10. I think it's a decent album.
Okay. And one of the things with the album, of course, is it starts to lay down or start to see the sound or the signature sounds of Queen starting to emerge. What do you think the band gets right on this album from the get-go?
Brian May's guitar sounds fabulous all the way through here. I think Roger's drumming is good. I don't think the mix on Roger's drumming is very good. I think his playing is good. So, I mean, it's almost like an introduction to where there's elements of this where you can see where they would go to with the next album, Queen 2, for sure. You've got all these little like songs that are, I think our mutual friend Kev Brown says this on Seaside Pod Review, where it's almost like all these different bits that are put together in Queen songs. They're not cut and paste songs like a lot of music is. There's a lot of thought gone into there. You get little differences in different sections, and the multi-layered as well with different sections going on. It's not a straightforward verse, chorus, bridge, and all that. You've got all these bits that go around. So, but I do think that this is them experimenting to find out where they're going to go from here afterwards.
Yeah, in the last maybe, 10 years, 8-10 years, the album's been reevaluated and it's seen as more of it's got more appreciation, because we probably first heard the album not too long after you first heard it, Marv, probably. And it was the old Fame label, EMI, and it was like, I think the first 2 Iron Maiden albums were the same. It's like cheaper to buy. But there just wasn't really that much, or didn't feel like it, much love for it in the 80s. But it feels like now it's been seen as a big influence on other bands. It was also in, do you remember the program called Vinyl? It was on, it's about 10 years ago. And basically a couple of the songs from the album were on that. I just don't imagine that happening like years ago. I just don't think. So it feels like it's got a new appreciation now.
Yeah, it's strange because, we'll go back to when we're talking about, which is like mid-80s. When we first bought Queen and that sort of thing. Yeah, a lot of those earlier albums were on, like you called, the Fame label, which is the cheap label. And if you bought vinyl, it was not a very good, mastering on vinyl. It was not a very good on there. And the tape cassettes were cheap that the Fame label was on. Yeah, so the quality wasn't all there with that, which is, for the first Queen album, is not a good thing, considering that the production of it was not great in the first place, and then you get this lesser quality vinyl production, and that it knocked it down. But I think us three, I'm guessing, we were always interested in this album personally. So what were good songs on there to us? We saw through that sort of production problem that was there, and we liked those songs from the off, like Liar and like The Night Comes Down and Son and Daughter and Keep Yourself Alive. They are really good songs. And we could see through this production, that's not so good, and get that, I think. And then I think the rest of the world has caught up with us, and they were, it's almost like early McCartney and some of that, where people were not really that interested. And it's because they followed what they thought was real and true, that this album isn't all that. So they avoided it, and then it's sort of almost like it's crept up on them, and they've been like, do you know, actually, I like that song, and I like that song, and I like that song, and it's not as bad an album as I thought it was.
Yeah, pleased.
What's your take, Marv, on the 2024 remix that was done of the album?
I think it was a good idea to remix the album. I think, although it does sound very much of now, as opposed to, do you know what I mean? You listen to the remix of it, and it is almost like it sounds like an album that came out then, and it wasn't a remix to make it sound of its time in a way. They could have done a remix that was more similar to maybe like a T-Rex or that sort of production from then, and gave it that sort of sheen. But it's good. It's better than the original production, for sure.
Yeah, I know it's a divisive mix of it, and the way I look at these kind of things is much like with Star Wars movies, where people get annoyed that the only versions available now are the special editions, and you can't get the originals. And I just think, look, if we've got access to the original '73 album to listen to, we've got access to the 2024 remix to listen to. Just listen to the one that you prefer. And I think there's something. The thing is, based on obviously doing a bit more of a deep dive into the album and listening to all the different versions, I think you find, or I certainly found, going through them is that it was a mixed bag. There were maybe half the songs or more I preferred the 2024 remix. The other half I preferred the original mixes from '73, and it's like, fine, I can just listen to the ones that I want.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because other versions that you've got of it, I was going to say other versions that you've got of it, like the BBC sessions and some of the demo versions, some of those work better because they've got more bite to them. There's more energy to them, and there's less sucked out by the production and by the being in the studio. These performances at the Beeb and the demos have more of a live band in place sort of feel, and you can tell that they're there and feeding off each other as musicians.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. You were going to say something, Paul?
In terms of the remix, I don't know, I'm quite traditionalist. So while I appreciate the remix, I don't want, even calling it Queen 1, for me it's Queen. There's something about maybe the naivety as well of the original mix, although they didn't like it at the time, but there's something nice as well about the first album, sort of innocence of it. So I kind of like that. Yeah. But I can see both sides.
See, I like the name change. And again, it's because it's the remix one's Queen 1, the original still Queen. I actually like the Queen 1, especially when you're doing podcasts. It's easier to call it Queen 1 than just Queen, which can confuse people. So this might be a tough question for you, Marv. So I think over the course of the 70s, and correct me if I'm wrong, Queen released 7 studio albums. Where would you rank the debut from top to bottom? Where would it be? If 1 is your favourite, 7's your least favourite, where do you think this would be? Now, there's a nice question just to drop on you.
That is a tough one. That's a really tough one. Because I also feel bad saying that I prefer the other 6 albums to this. And I do include jazz in that as well, for people who might wonder.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I prefer the other 6 over this. You the same, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the things that Paul and I are going to do with these episodes is, over the course of time, the 82 years it will take us to go through all the Queen songs, is when we do a show like this, we will try and rank the albums. So this one's easy because it's the first album, therefore it's going to be number 1, right? So it starts at number 1. But as we move to our next show, which is going to be start to look at Queen 2 and the first track on that procession, where will Queen 2 be? Will it be above Queen or not? I think we know the answer to that already. It will be, but hey ho, we'll see. And Marv, I think you'll have to come back and talk about Queen 2 as well. How about it?
I can time travel into the future and join you for that discussion.
That's good. And we may well all be wearing the same clothes as well.
I might have the same length of beard.
Not together, right?
No, we've definitely not had showers together. Not on this occasion anyways. Okay, well, we thank you all for listening today, and big thanks to Marv for joining us. Good fun talking Queen as ever. And until next time, keep yourself alive.